Okay. Hello, Walpurgis Night over on YouTube. Good evening. Hey, Hidden. Hidden, I'm going to start playing the Space Dwarf game soonish. That is on my to-do list. Because my partner likes first-person shooters and co-op stuff, and we've been looking for stuff to play. Yeah, Deep Rock. So that's one of the possibilities. She also really likes these Sniper Elite games, and apparently those have co-op campaigns for some of the more recent ones. I haven't played any of those games before, so I think I have Sniper Elite 3. And I remember I've seen like GIFs of that game. So nice. Yeah, and about Deep Rock, like, is do you need to buy any of the DLC for that game? Because I've seen there's a just absolute shit ton of DLC for that, and like the base game is $5, and if you wanted to get everything, it's like $90 for all of the DLC. Oh, it's all cosmetic. Okay, so there's no like extra missions or weapons or anything. It's just literally all cosmetics. Okay, that is great to know. But so I don't need to pay $90 for all of the Space Dwarf stuff, huh? Interesting. So all the actual content is just free updates then. That's nice. I guess it's a nice way to support the developers, at least, is like, hey, your free updates are great. Here's some money for cosmetics. Oh, that's awesome. All right, cool. Oh. Okay. All right. I'm looking forward to playing that one then, because that's on the to-do list. Escape Room Simulator is on the list, and there's a few other like two-player puzzle games that we're gonna do. We played through Return of Obra Dinn over the weekend, last weekend, and that game is still a trip. Playing it the second time through. So yeah, looking forward to that. Person in YouTube really wants to know if I like Moana. I don't know what that is, so no idea. Hey Tops, thank you. Third or fourth. Yeah, apparently, like, character levels are a thing. So maybe once me and her have leveled up, I guess, in the game. I've heard that there's also, if you play it single player, you have 3 self-revives. If you play with 2 players, then there's no self-revives. And ideally, you want to have at least 3 players in those. So, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, probably. All right, anyways. Let's get started with this, shall we? Crimson Diamond, Part 8, 8 hours, 18 minutes in, 5 deaths still. There was actually a patch put out for this today. It was either today or yesterday. That patches a whole bunch of gameplay stuff. I quickly perused through it because a lot of it is spoilers. The 2 feedbacks that I sent to the developer, Julia, she actually patched in this patch, so good on her. She's actually listening to player feedback and patching stuff that players notice. So that is awesome. Awesome to see. Let's hop over into the game here. Oh, interesting. Okay. All right, I'll keep that in mind. Because like I have a copy of the game, but she doesn't, so we're probably just going to like boot it up single player just to see what the game's like. But from everything I've heard, it's Left 4 Dead except in space with dwarves and sci-fi-ish, and everything's procedurally generated rather than like enemy positions. So that sounds right up my alley. I like procedurally generated stuff, and I like Left 4 Dead style games. So it sounds like a winner to me. All right, Crimson Diamond. We are in chapter 6 of this banger now. So where we're at in the game was in chapter 5. The owner of the inn was kidnapped by the older lady Nessa and her lawyer friend Corvus, and they were brought over to the mine to, I don't know, it sounds like they're gonna force him to sign a new will or something that gives all the wealth to Nessa instead of Evans, I think his name. And there's also a bunch of other intrigue with the mineralogist guy not actually being a mineralogist, and he was sent there as some sort of like spy from another government or something. So now Nancy, Maple, and Jack are at the abandoned mine, and we are currently trying to get inside the mine. It looks like the entrance here caved in shortly after the kidnappers and the kidnappee were inside of the mine. So that's where we're currently at. So what do we got? The abandoned garnet mine looks stark and desolate in the moonlight. Debris and forgotten equipment litter the area. There is rubble completely obstructing the entrance. The rubble does look fresh. It could be that Nessa and Corvus did enter the mine from here. Jack is here. Talk to Jack. I'm trying to dig out this rubble and not break this old shovel in two while I do it. If you can figure out a better way, I'm all ears. Otherwise, come help me dig. Alright, so looks like we got a spool of wire. The reel of wire looks pretty good, considering it's been outside for years. Okay, can we get the reel? Okay. That seems like an enormous reel of wire to just take, but okay. I wonder if I can figure out a faster way to clear this rubble. Disclaimer! The developer of this game assumes no responsibility or liability for any errors or omissions in any processes depicted, particularly dangerous ones involving explosives. Do not attempt anything in this game in real life. Okay. This... So all I did was pick up the reel of wire. I didn't do anything involving... I know in my inventory I have a stick of dynamite in my inventory, I think. But this text pop-up here kind of gives away the a possible puzzle solution here. Like, and I know that there was just a big patch issued for the game, and she even says in the patch notes, like, hopefully this is the last big patch I have to do. I'm probably going to send feedback about this, because this kind of gives stuff away, I think. Alright, well done. So in our inventory... we should have a stick of dynamite, I think. Yeah, so there's our stick of dynamite. Stick of dynamite, looking at makes us sweat. I assume that's hairs. We have a lot of stuff in our inventory. Possible I could set up an explosive to clear this rubble. If I insert a blasting cap into the dynamite, then wire to the blasting cap, then cut the wire and insert that end into the plunger detonator, that could work. You, flushed with pride, realizing that your childhood curiosity at your father's job as a dynamiter for construction companies had suddenly become useful. Dad would be proud. So I'm trying to... True. So, well, it was with, like, great hesitation that she picked up the dynamite. So I'm still trying to wrap my head around this, of, like, why for just this particular puzzle, simply looking at this wire leads to you to, like, okay, here's the puzzle solution. You need to do this, 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 and this to blow up the entrance of the dynamite. Like, I don't know. So I'm pretty sure we don't have a blasting cap. We do, however... What is this? Oh, it's a tinted blasting caps. Okay, there's only one left. We examine the wire. Wire's in pretty good condition. Alright, so we need to strip the wire. I don't see anything here that I could strip the wire with. That I can see. I guess I could just try... Strip wire. Open tin. Get blasting cap. That isn't here. Get cap from tin. Open tin. Yep. Use cap on dynamite. Okay, look. Plunger. Plunger detonator has been weathered by the elements. Still looks very warm, but it might still work. There's only one way to find out. Attach wire to detonator. You need to cut the wire from the reel before you can insert it into the plunger. Cut wire from reel. You need to insert the blasting cap into the dynamite. Why can't I do why can't I do this in a different order? Like, okay. Insert blasting cap in dynamite. You carefully insert the but it was inside of a tin. Okay, alright. Attach wire to blasting cap. You stick the end of the wire into the blasting cap, which has been inserted into the dynamite. Attach wire. Cut wire from reel. I'm all set. I just need to cut the wire from the reel and insert the cut end into the plunger detonator. You don't have any wire cutters right now. You don't see any. I wonder where I could get a set of wire cutters. I'm so close. Okay, so we're looking for wire cutters. Ask Jack for wire cutters. Would you happen to have any wire cutters, Jack? I do, actually. Okay. Perfect. May I borrow these? Sure thing. How handy that he just happens to have some wire cutters. Here you go, Nancy. Wire cutters. Thanks. Cut wire with wire cutters. Using the wire cutters, you snip the wire from the reel. Alright, let's save the game just in case this gets dangerous. Alright. Attach wire to detonator. You don't have the plunger yet. What? What? Get plunger? What? It's attached to the... You take the plunger I wonder if I could figure out a faster way to clear the rubble. Oh my god. Alright, Nancy. I wonder if I could rig this up to blast the mine. Yes, yep. Okay. Why did she have to take the whole thing? I don't know, but okay. Attach wire to plunger. You insert the wire into the plunger detonator. Once this rig, it's time to set it off. Game has autosaved. Okay. This is probably a place where we could die. Push plunger. Well, we can't see the carnage because there's a note in front of it. Alright. That's a death, but we need to get a better look at that. Alright, clear that. Push plunger. Here goes! Alright. Got him. Hey, boys. Maybe step back a wee bit. Okay. Tell Jack about plunger. Nothing compelling to say about that. Talk to Jack. Tell Jack about dynamite. I managed to cobble together an explosive to help clear the rubble. Oh wow, that could work. Set it up when you're ready. I'll keep shoveling at this rubble just in case it doesn't work. Set up dynamite. Jack, I'm ready to set the explosive charge. Got it, Nancy. Give me a second. Ready! You carefully place the rigged dynamite close to the rubble. Okay, we're all set. Maybe we need to move this plunger a little bit. But just in case. Maybe there's a separate death just for this one, where we don't both just die. Here goes! Fucking dumbass. Nancy? Alright. So that might be a separate achievement just for that one. Alright, move plunger. Where would you like to take the plunger? Move plunger behind rock. Alright. I still don't like how this entire puzzle was pretty much spelled out to the player from the get-go. I've taken the plunger and placed it out of harm's way. Fortunately, the wire's long enough. Alright. Where's plunger? Here goes nothing. That was a bit anticlimactic. Well, there's only one stick of dynamite after all. Yeah, one stick could only do so much. Look at rubble. You and Jack have managed to create a Nancy-sized hole in the rubble. I think I could squeeze through. You can see an old discarded plunger detonator among the debris. Get old plunger. Either that isn't here or you see no need for it? What? Get old detonator? What? Get detonator. Look at debris. Nancy-sized hole I can squeeze through. An old discarded plunger detonator among the debris. Oh. Okay, there we go. So why would the game mention this, but not... Get debris? Okay. Alright, I'm gonna make a save here. Just in case I need to get it later? Yeah, maybe, like, I guess it's just flavor or descriptive text or something, but usually when the game points out something in addition to that, it usually wants you to do something with it or take it, but... Alright. Like this chapter feels like it was done either at the beginning of development or like way at the end, and it's something about this chapter just feels completely unlike every other part of the game. Alright, enter hole. Alright, I can fit through this opening. Nancy, this is really dangerous. Let's widen this hole some more so I can go too. Evan's in danger, there's no time to lose. You keep working on the rubble and follow when you can. Okay, Nancy, you're the boss. You be careful, you hear? I will, I promise. Wait, before you go, it's gonna be dark as night in there. Darker even. Take this lantern. I love his walking animation. It's like only the bottom half of his legs move. Jack lights the lantern and hands it to you. I've got another one, don't you worry. You're not the only one with big pockets. Good luck, kiddo. Thanks, Jack. Alright, I guess we're keeping his wire cutters. You squeeze through the small hole in the rubble and enter the mine. Oh, wow. Seeing the lantern's light reflected brilliantly on the thousands of red crystals embedded in the walls, you're suddenly reminded of why you traveled to Crimson in the first place. If the situation wasn't so dire, you'd be dazzled by this cave of natural wonders. Instead, the red gleams look like blood is beating on every surface, just waiting to fall. You shiver. Tirana feels like it's 1,000,000 kilometers and 1,000,000 years away. Oh dear, it's so dark in here. I need to figure out which way Nessa and Corvus have taken Mr. Richards. If indeed they came this way at all. Game is auto-saved. That usually means you can die. So... interesting. Alright. What we got? Garnet Mine's interior is much cooler than the outside. The air feels stale and still. You're grateful for the lantern's light, though the warm glow quickly gets swallowed by the darkness. The opening you created to enter the mine seems to float in the air like a portal to another world. You can see a good deal of the mining machinery that was left behind years ago, as well as a discarded shovel. I think this machine is some sort of crusher. You notice a particularly large red crystal embedded in a nearby boulder. Ooh, gorgeous. Alright, get shovel. Now that you're inside the mine, there's no need for the shovel. Too bad I could have used this when helping Jack clear the rubble outside. Well, Nancy, you could... Oh, God, okay. A shovel would be pretty handy in a mine, but alright. Get big crystal. Either that isn't here... What? Look boulder. See a boulder near one of the leaning wooden support beams that looks like it might be a good candidate for a sample. Look at the size of that red crystal. Break... crystal? You chip a particularly lovely crystal sample out of the rock. Alright. Are we doing geology right now? Crystal sample you took from the mine's interior is truly spectacular. There's some amazing red and colorless crystal formations. Stunning! Like, Evan could possibly be getting murdered on the next screen over, but we're over here doing science. While the mine interior sample is pocked with many lovely crystals, the most prominent one is large and red. A healthy-sized garnet, most likely. I think it's even gem quality. It's a real pity that this mine produced industrial abrasives only. It's too pretty to pulverize. Alright, we gotta... rub sample on plate. Rub mine sample on plate. Rubbing that on the streak plate wouldn't reveal much. Okay, alright, I tried. Put mine sample in crusher. Look crusher. You get a good look at the machinery. It's covered in a thick layer of dust and clearly hasn't been used or even touched in years. Turn on crusher. Alright. So I wonder... Okay, I'm gonna save the game here. So can I turn off lamp? Close lantern. Put down lantern. Put away lantern. Okay. Alright. The game is dead set on this lantern being out. Got it. So we got 2 exits to the north here. It looks like I can also go south. And probably can't leave, so let's go south first. You slip and fall into the distant, jagged depths of the mine. Alright. Another death found. Too bad you're not the gumshoe you thought you were. Be more careful next time. Great. That is a Sierra-ass death if I've ever seen one. Okay. Right door, left door. Right door it is. Alright. Another Sierra death. Don't give in to the pressure. Before moving on, find your way. Better luck next time. Ooh. Okay. Does this left door kill me too? Alright. Very cool. Yep. This is... Alright. Look at... door? Entrance. You look up at the hole in the rubble, wondering how Mr. Richards will fit through when you rescue him from his captors. Look, archway. I don't know what I would describe this. Opening? Not that one. Okay, what about just look? You can see an entranceway framed by wooden beams. I can't see much through here, but it looks even less safe than that area of the mine. More rubble, collapsed beams, eek. Alright, what about here? Look. Right-hand path seems to lead down a long, narrow corridor. That way doesn't look safe at all. I really hope Corvus and Nessa haven't gone that way. It looks like a tight squeeze. Okay. Oh, there's this way as well. Sure. Eastward path leads to even deeper darkness. How is that even possible? It could be that I have to go east, but I need to figure out where to go next before I leave this area. I won't have the pale moonlight from the opening of the outside to orient myself by. I get lost for sure. Gee, I really hope Nessa, Corvus, and Mr. Richards pass this way after all. It looks like there's footprints below. Many types of shoe prints cover the floor of the garnet mine, leading in all directions. Most of these are probably made by miners decades ago. I wonder if Nessa and Corvus came this way with Mr. Richards. So they probably dragged him. Okay. Examine footprints. Aha! There are some pointy-toes size 14 men's dress shoe prints. And impressions made by size 8 women's shoes. And size 12 men's boots. I recognize this tread pattern from Mr. Richards' other boots. 3 such shoe prints are in the freshest after all. Now I need to track these shoe prints and discover where they went next. Nessa and Corvus weren't interested in the machinery, nor did they take this path descending to the south. They moved further east. Fresh shoe prints head east, deeper into the mine. Nothing but dusty miner shoe prints down the southern path. Okay, there we go. East it is. Gee, I'm glad I was able to track Nessa and Corvus down this path. I hope I can find Mr. Richards before it's too late. Uh-oh, am I just dead again? Ah, what was that? Despite the terrifying rumbles and shudders surrounding you, you forge onwards. Game is autosaved. Just as you reach this firelit cavern, your lantern goes out. Oh no, the lantern's out of oil. There's no turning back now. Sign your will, Evan. Sign my fake will, you mean? If you're so smart, why don't you just forge Pa's will? Then you wouldn't have had to come up with this dumb scheme. If you were so smart, you'd know that Pa's lawyer is still alive. He'd pipe up pretty quick if an actual will from his client came out of nowhere. But this is a perfectly suitable backup plan. It's much easier to forge your will. If you do as you're told, I'll let you die quickly. Otherwise, you'll starve to death in the dark. And we'll forge your signature anyway. Nancy's onto you. You won't get away with this. We'll see about that. It'll be her word against ours. I have to rescue Mr. Richards. My first order of business is to distract Corvus. Okay. Final confrontation. Alright, we appear to be at the end of the game, I guess. Alright, so if we just walk in here. Aha! Oh! Corvus ties you up. We have to get out of here. Maybe Nancy was followed. Yes, we do. Any last words, brother dearest? Not for you. Nessa takes a handful of crushed almonds from the table. She then stuffs the almonds in Evan's mouth. Cough, cough, act. Nessa, what have you done? I should have done that a long time ago. Goodbye, Nancy. Corvus takes the lantern and follows Nessa out of the cavern. You're left in darkness, listening to Mr. Richards gasp his last breaths. I'm sorry, Mr. Richards. All you can do is wait. It feels like an eternity. And then... footsteps. I'm in here. Help. Nancy, is that you? Mr. Richards. Ranger Murdoch. Nancy. Mr. Richards is dead. Let's get you out of here. So this is probably the bad ending. Ranger Murdoch takes out a pocket knife and saws through the ropes that are binding you. Thanks. Corvus got away, and so did Nessa. I'm sorry. I failed. The important thing is you're safe. Come along. I'm sorry, Mr. Richards. Goodbye. Ranger Murdoch leads the way out of the mine. You feel incredibly relieved to be out of the mine. It feels like a great weight has been lifted off your shoulders. The automobile is parked down the hill, and there are more rangers waiting for us at the train station. How did everyone get here so quickly? Well, it wasn't quick, actually. I'm not actually a forest ranger. I'm a member of Northwest Mounted Police. I knew it. This guy was a Mountie. Hat or no hat. We've been on the trail of a German spy and saboteur who is rumored to be in this area. We believe he's responsible for the bombing of the bridge west of Crimson. Albert Carl L. A man known as Carl Leffler. You revealed him, Nancy. Well done. Not only that, you tipped us off to what his next target would be. The Sulaks! Right again. As you know, Canada declared war on Germany a few weeks ago. It appears operatives directed by the German Foreign Office have undertaken a campaign here in Canada to delay military aid to Europe by targeting transportation links such as railways, bridges, and canals. We strongly suspect that Carl L., a man we know as Carl Leffler, is one of those operatives. He's been apprehended at the Sulaks while setting up explosive charges. And thanks to your impeccable detective work, Mr. Leffler will surely be brought to justice. Gee! Let's go. Ace Detective. Nancy Maple. Chapter 7 Conclusions. Even worse setting. I think probably just the dying is a worse setting. Oh, you mean like not figuring out who the identity of the spy was? Probably. The train station is a flurry of activity. Rangers are milling all around, consulting with each other in whispered conversations. Inside, you can hear the non-stop whir and tick of the telegraph machine. Okay, so before we go any further here in this chapter, I made that hard save at the start of the final confrontation. Once we get through whatever this concludes to, and we'll probably get an ending, I'm going to reload that save that I made, and we'll try and actually do the whatever the puzzle is and save Mr. Evans and all that. But for now, we're going to go through this and see what this concludes to, because there are multiple endings in the game. Our ranger in charge looks up and acknowledges Ranger Murdoch with a nod. Just the man I wanted to see. Thanks to the intelligence you provided, we were able to alert authorities in Sault Ste. Marie about the impending sabotage attempts at Sulaks. They were ready and waiting and caught the man red-handed with a luggage full of dynamite and blasting caps, not to mention a 9mm Luger in a glove box. Imagine his surprise when they called him by his real name, Carl Leffler, aka Albert Respa, German spy and saboteur. I would have loved to have seen the look on his face. All in all, some mighty fine work, Ranger Murdoch. A crisis has been averted. As much as I'd like to take credit for it, Nancy Maple here is the one you ought to be thanking. She single-handedly figured it out. All I did was pass along the information. Well then, my thanks to you, Nancy Maple. You're a Canadian hero. Thanks. Though I'll warn you now, you might have to be an unsung hero at that. I have a feeling the Canadian government wouldn't want to reveal just how vulnerable we were tonight. It could undermine the public's confidence at a crucial turning point for our country. Oh, I don't mind at all, as long as things worked out for the best. They did truly. Nancy, thank you for your service. Now, what do you got here? We just come from the old abandoned garnet mine. These folks are trying to rescue Mr. Evan Richards, who'd been kidnapped earlier this evening. Unfortunately, Mr. Richards was killed and the perpetrator, Nessa Krabby, and her accomplice escaped. We'll be aggressively pursuing these fugitives. The charges against them are very serious. We'll use every resource at our disposal. Roger. A busy night. Yes, indeed. Please dispatch some crime scene investigators to the lodge so we can build a strong case. Roger that. I'm heading back to Tirana now. I need to meet up with some higher-ups immediately. The Northwest Mounted Police has commandeered a train back to the city. I've been told you call Tirana home, Miss Maple. Will you join me? I'm exhausted. I don't think I'm up for more traveling tonight, and I'm not ready to leave Crimson just yet. Suit yourself. I'll need to take your statement for the report, but that can wait a day or two. Thank you. I'll need a bit of time to get my thoughts in order. Of course, there's going to be a ton of paperwork to do for this whole caper. I'll be trapped behind a desk for weeks. Do send word when you'll be returning. I'll pick you up from Union Station and escort you straight to the police station. Will do. Thanks, Ranger Murdoch. Nathan drives you and Jack back to the lodge. Margot's death feels like it happened weeks ago. And your arrival in Crimson feels like it happened months ago. And it feels like years ago when you spoke to your boss, Professor Plummer. Ah, my boss, my fieldwork. What am I going to tell him? Despite the excitement of the evening, you find yourself nodding off, only to be jolted awake when Nathan's automobile hits an uneven stretch of road. Eventually, not even the bumpy road can rouse you. Nancy, you awake? We're back. Zzz. Once Jack has roused you from your deep slumber, you make your way upstairs as quietly as possible, lest you wake Kimi. Okay. My goodness, what a night. I've never been so exhausted. You climb into bed and are eager to fall asleep. I love that there's still just broken glass all over the left side of the room. But as your gaze falls onto the ransacked curio cabinet, you realize there are a few things you may want to bring up with the other inhabitants of the lodge tomorrow morning. I better make some new notes on fresh paper to remind myself. Or I could just decide to go to sleep if I wish. Okay, so it looks like you have to fill this in as best you can for probably to get the best ending. So let's see what we get if we just say fuck it. Let's go to bed. You're exhausted and decide to go to sleep instead of pondering these questions. So in the Nancy, or in the Colonel's Bequest and the name of the series escapes me, but the Dagger Von Ra is the second game. At the end of those games, there was a sequence where you answered a bunch of questions as like who did it, and some of the mysteries lingering in the game. So this is also fitting right in with how those games ended as well. Because I remember in the end of the second game, it was like, who killed such and such? And it was just a big-ass list of people's names that you had to choose from. And I got most of them wrong. You wake up the next morning feeling refreshed and ravenous. Laura Bow is that series, by the way, that I'm picking up. As you make your way down the upstairs hallway, you begin to smell the inviting aromas of coffee and bacon. You enter the kitchen and find the other inhabitants gathered around the table, digging into a hearty breakfast. You join in. Morning light is streaming through the small window, causing motes of dust to sparkle and dance in the light. Someone helped steal Nessa's brooch, didn't they? An awkward silence descends. No one makes eye contact with you. I found the brooch in Margot's walk-in closet, pinned to the inside of one of her hats. And that was after Corvus had already looked under the hats. So someone moved the brooch after Margot had passed away. Who was it? It was probably someone tall. I could barely reach those mannequin heads, and Margot was even shorter than me, and ill. Okay, it was me, Nancy. I hid the brooch up there. I suspected it would be him, But, okay, that confirms it, I guess. It was to cheer Margot up a bit, more than anything. Just a fun little way to get back at Nessa for all her nastiness. We'd also planned to sell the brooch and put the money towards helping with the lodge's upkeep. Nessa was trying to lay claim to the whole place, but she never lifted a finger to take care of it, nor sent a dime. I actually think that's a pretty good idea. Here. You hand the ruby brooch over to Jack. Thanks, Nancy, I will. Kimi, I'm sorry that your birding trip was so full of drama and tension, but I'm very glad I got to meet you. Thanks so much, Nancy. That's very kind of you. Yes, this was one of the strangest trips I've ever taken. So much unpleasantness and tragedy. But I don't regret coming up here. Crimson is a beautiful place. Margot was very kind. Jack and Nathan really helped me feel at home here, despite everything. I liked Mr. Richards too. He was a quiet type like me. Sometimes people take that the wrong way. I didn't. Not with him. I don't know. And he loved Crimson. I can see why. She could be the mastermind behind all of this. And Nancy, I'm very glad I got to meet you too. You're one of a kind, brave and clever. No matter what happens, I'm sure you'll make your dreams come true. Thank you. That means a lot to me. I'll try my best. Nathan, I have to know. Yes? I have to know. Are there diamonds here in Crimson? Nathan and Jack exchanged meaningful looks. I mean, I didn't really find any evidence of the presence of diamonds here. Ah, well, why don't we leave it at that? Nancy, we know that your field work is very important to you, and certainly can't prevent you from divulging anything you may have discovered here. We can only ask you to think about what that news could mean for Crimson. We like it how it is now. I do too. And so did Margot and Mr. Richards. What'll happen now? That'll partially depend on you, Nancy. Uh-oh. You all pile into Nathan's automobile. You're touched that Kimi would take the long, arduous trip to see you off. As the automobile trundles away from the lodge, you crane your neck and take one last look. I'm really gonna miss this place, in spite of everything. You turn and face forward. The rattling of the rough road makes it hard to think. The only coherent thought you manage to have is... What will you tell your boss? And what could that mean for your future? Thank goodness the bridge has been repaired enough to allow trains to cross it again. Repaired enough? You are traveling late, Nancy. I wouldn't be too concerned. Okay, Nancy, the train's gonna leave soon. Be well. Oh, but what about you, Kimi? I've talked it over with Jack and Nathan. I think I'll stay on for a bit. Suspicious. It's been so tense here. I want to relax, enjoy the birds, and the fall migration is starting in a few weeks, and the leaves will be changing color. I promised Jack that I'll help with the lodge chores. I'll earn my keep. That's wonderful news. I wish I could stay longer too, but I got to get back to my job in the city. Good luck, Nancy. I'm gonna miss you. I miss you too, Kimi. Be well. Goodbye, Nancy. Yeah, bye, Nancy. Now go on. The train's not gonna wait forever. Right. You stare out the train window. It's a clear, cool morning. As crisp and refreshing as it is this far north, you brace yourself for the muggy summer heat down by Tirana. Your mind is buzzing with all that's transpired over the last few days. It feels like you're returning home from a long voyage. You can't help but wonder, did you miss anything? Did you leave any loose ends? No. Would you like to be privy to some helpful, introspective thoughts? Yes or no? No. We'll figure it out. You feel confident and satisfied with all you've done in Crimson. You watch the landscape whiz by and drift off into a contented sleep. I'm glad that the game asks if you want to know how badly you screwed up. I like that. I appreciate that. I will say yes when we do the next ending. Ranger Murdoch meets you at Union Station as arranged. Ranger Murdoch! Hello, Nancy. It's good to see you again. Would you like me to drive you home to rest? No thanks. I'm eager to have my interview. Let's go. Right. Follow me. Yeah, probably. Probably. You look over at the wanted posters on the bulletin board and see a familiar face. The face has familiar features, but the expression gives you pause. It's unmistakably Margot, but she looks scared and angry, and the name is different too. Well, maybe it was Margot that killed us. I don't know. The Margot you knew was at peace, kind and caring. You feel fortunate to have met her when you did. The poster lists her offenses as assault, theft, racketeering, public nuisance. Nancy? Sorry, just lost in thought. Ah, yes, that person has been on the most wanted list for a few years now. Skagway was a clear, lawless place, sometimes who the criminals were as a matter of public opinion. Okay. And sometimes, if you didn't make friends with the right people, you could get stuck with all sorts of trumped-up charges. Does she look familiar to you? No, I don't recognize her. Very well, let's begin. Suddenly, the door bursts open to reveal your boss, Professor Plummer. Hey, Shang-Chi. The door is already open, but maybe it's a different door. Oh. Nancy, there you are. Welcome back. I heard the train had come in. Sir, we're in the middle of a confidential interview with the door wide open. All right. My apologies. I won't be a moment. Nancy, what did you find? Are there diamonds and crimson? I must know. Yes or no? A note has been added to your notebook. Maybe. Well, I didn't see any evidence of diamonds, so no. I'm afraid I didn't find anything significant, Professor. I managed to obtain some good samples, though. And I think I'll still be able to produce a good report for my fieldwork. It just won't be very exciting. Ah, I'm sorry to hear it, Nancy. As for exciting, most research isn't. Don't worry too much about that. Come see me when you're ready, and I'll help you with your report. Thanks so much, Professor Plummer. Take care, Nancy. See you soon. Okay, now let's really begin. I wonder why that last text box had a bunch of empty space on the right. Huh. Any information you provide will be kept strictly confidential, of course. Thank you, I appreciate it. Nessa Krabby is wanted in connection with Evan Richards' kidnapping and murder and attempted fraud. After examining the area, we believe Mr. Richards was assaulted at the jetty near the lodge. Do you have any evidence connecting Nessa to the scene at the jetty? Yes or no? Alright. So I do? I think I want to go for like the worst of the worst ending here. So I think the evidence for this would be the almonds. I'm gonna say no though. No, I'm afraid not. Okay, moving on. Did you find anything in areas besides the jetty that could connect Nessa to Evan's kidnapping? Yes or no? No. No, I'm afraid not. Okay, moving on. We believe Mr. Richards was being held in the lodge's smokehouse before being moved to the garden mine. Did you find any evidence to support our theory regarding his unlawful confinement? Yes or no? No. No, I'm afraid not. Okay, moving on. How did you figure out that Mr. Richards was taken to the garden mine? If you're not sure, you can just say no or pass. Pass. No, I'm afraid not. Okay, moving on. We were able to recover Mr. Richards' body from the mine. The autopsy reveals his airway was swollen and inflamed. Nessa claims his death was accidental, that he choked to death on the Jordan almonds she was trying to feed him. Do you have any knowledge that might contradict her claim? Yes or no? No. No, I'm afraid not. Okay, moving on. Let's move on to Corvus Shaw's role in Mr. Richards' kidnapping and murder. Although Mr. Shaw is currently at large, we're making every effort to apprehend him. Do you have any evidence that could connect Corvus to these crimes? Yes or no? No. Yeah. No, I'm afraid not. Okay, moving on. We're definitely not an accomplice here. What about any lesser crimes? We suspect Corvus was brought to the lodge by Nessa to commit fraud. Do you know anything that could help us build that case? Yes or no? No. No, I'm afraid not. Okay, moving on. What about Carl Leffler, aka Albert Respa? What can you tell me about him? Rangers apprehended him in the middle of his sabotage attempt on the Sioux Lock, so that's an open and shut case. But we suspect this man is involved in other illegal acts. Do you think you can attribute any criminal activities to him? Yes or no? No. I think that just about wraps everything up, Nancy. Is everything okay, Ranger Murdoch? Ranger Murdoch smiles sadly and sighs. In all honesty, I was hoping you could help us a bit more with our investigations, but a lot has happened in the last few days. I'm a bit exhausted, and I'm sure you are too. If anything else occurs to you, please let me know. It could make a big difference in how this all pans out. Yes, sir! And I'm sorry I couldn't be more helpful. No need, I'm sorry for my bluntness. You did well, Nancy. It was an extremely stressful situation. I'm just glad you're safe and sound. Good night, Nancy. Good night. Nice job, Nancy. You head home after completing your interview with Ranger Murdoch and immediately set to work on your field report of Crimson. You write at length about the samples you've obtained and the observations you made, though you do leave out a few details, such as, there are diamonds in Crimson. Are there? Okay. Professor Plummer proves to be an enthusiastic and patient mentor despite his mild disappointment at the unremarkable findings. You impressed him with your attention to detail and hard work. Together you produce an impeccable field report that is published by the Royal Canadian Museum and eventually endorsed by the Geological Survey of Canada. Your first publication, Nancy, a real feather in your cap. Weeks pass, soon you're immersed in irregular life. You become an expert on the filing system and even suggest some ways to improve it. You find yourself missing the fresh air, the roaring waterfalls, and rushing rivers of Crimson. You wonder if you'll ever hear about how things are going up there. Until one day. There you are, Nancy. I thought today's newspaper might be of interest to you. You start reading the newspaper. Nessa Krabby's image dominates the front of the paper. She's considered a fugitive and wanted in connection with her brother's murder and kidnapping and attempted fraud. Well, to be fair, Nancy is a geologist and not a cop, so it's not her responsibility, right? The article mentions that Nessa's alleged accomplice Corvus Shaw is being charged for his role in Evan's murder and kidnapping, assault, and attempted fraud. You're relieved to see no mention of Crimson anywhere, not even in the smallest news items. You figured no news is good news. There's no mention at all about Albert Carl's attempted sabotage of the Sulaks, only that there will be minor delays due to routine maintenance. They probably want to make sure there aren't any more explosive devices in and around the locks, had Albert succeeded. You shudder to think of it. You skim the rest of the newspaper, but nothing else catches your eye. That's a relief, I suppose. This sounds like an ending theme to me. Too bad about the whole diamond fiasco, eh, Nancy? But we both knew it was a long shot. Good work today, kiddo. See you tomorrow, bright and early. Yes, sir. You start the long walk home. You're relieved that Crimson won't become an open pit mine, and that Kimi and her cormorants are safe and happy. This is a new screen. Hiya, Nancy. Another late night, eh? I've got a bit of stew saved for you. Kept it nice and warm on the stove. That sure looks an awful lot like Roberta Williams. I wonder if it is. Thanks, Mrs. I'm starving. Go on in, lass. I'll serve it up. I'll be down in a bit. Okay, lass, take your time. Is Ken in there, too? Mrs. Williams ladles a hearty bowl of soup, stew, and slices a bit of bread for you. The food is delicious and warms you to the bone. She sits with you, and the two of you chat about the goings-on in the neighborhood. You're grateful she rents you a room so cheaply. Museum clerks don't get paid very much. Once your belly is full and Mrs. Williams says wash the bowl, she waves you away from this menial task. You step lightly upstairs, lest you wake the other lodgers. You fall asleep as your head hits the pillow. You're exhausted, and tomorrow will be another exhausting day. But every exhausting day is another step closer to making your dreams come true. Well done, Nancy. So I remember the ending that I got in Laura Bow 2. I did so bad that my ending was she got in bed and then she was like shot with a machine gun or something. Like, you could have done better in your investigating of the motives and actions of the other guests in the lodge. Yeah, yep, I know. You scored 0 points out of 24 during your pre-departure ponderings. Alright. You weren't of much help at all to the Rangers' investigation. Hopefully they can still find justice for the wronged parties. You scored 0 points out of 19 during your interview with Ranger Murdoch. You could have done better in your investigation and reporting of Margot's death, but you did your best. You scored 0 points out of 8 for your Margot investigation. Carl Leffler, aka Albert Respa, was tried and found guilty of sabotage for the Ray Bridge, attempted sabotage of the Sulaks, espionage, fraud, theft, and a litany of minor charges. He was incarcerated at Kingston Penitentiary until his death 12 years later of a heart attack. The Sulaks were patrolled by the Northwest Mounted Police for the duration of the Great War, and no other sabotage attempts were made. Thanks to his vigilance, Canadian supply lines along the Great Lake waterways remained uninterrupted. This played an important part in Commonwealth war efforts and crucially contributed to the Allied victory. Corvishaw got away, fleeing to Britain under an assumed name. He continued to commit fraud and other white-collar crimes and enjoyed a long, quiet life of lavish wealth. Margot was laid to rest alongside Evan and his parents in Crimson's lushly overgrown cemetery in an informal service attended by Jack, Nathan, and Kimi. You wish she'd been able to make Nessa face justice for Margot's murder, but at least Margot's at rest where she was loved. Kimi Kishiro stayed at the lodge until after the autumn migration of birds, when she returned to Vancouver to be with her family. From then on, she'd visit Crimson for the spring and autumn migrations, as well as the cormorant's nesting season every summer. Wow, that's dedication. Following Evan's death, Jack remained at the lodge, continuing to take care of it under the supervision of the Cardinal family. When Jack became old and creaky, the Cardinals in turn took care of him. Nathan Cardinal had a verbal agreement with Evan about the fate of the lodge, but unfortunately Evan died before he was able to put it into writing. Nessa had such serious charges laid against her, including Evan's murder. Her face was put on wanted posters all across Canada, and she was quickly apprehended, found guilty, and imprisoned. That's all cut off. That's cut off even in the feed that I'm looking at. So, sure. As a result, she was unable to meddle further in her brother's affairs. The land and lodge were passed onto the Cardinal family with no dispute. With every passing year, everything but the lodge and train station were slowly reclaimed by the wilderness. The secret of the Crimson Diamonds remained hidden. Nessa Krabby was never seen again. It could be that she never made it out of the mine, or that she kept a low profile after her escape. It rankles you that she got away with at least one murder. You find yourself looking over your shoulder often, and you still see her vengeful, fire-lit face in your nightmares. Evan Richards was buried alongside Margot and his parents in Crimson, which is exactly what he wanted. Some say his restless spirit haunts the cemetery to this day, mourning the suspicious demise of his lady love. You have many sleepless nights over the fact that not only did Nessa get away, but also you weren't able to prove she murdered Margot. You hope Mr. Richards would forgive you if he knew. You continue working diligently as a clerk at the Royal Canadian Museum. A month later, you were accepted at the University of Tirana in the Department of Geology and Paleontology as an undergraduate. Professor Plummer spoke highly of your fieldwork in Crimson in his letter of recommendation. Although your findings weren't revolutionary, he tells you that impeccable work, regardless of result, is the bedrock of any scientific discipline, and that he's very proud of you. A few months later, you receive a letter from Ranger Murdoch praising your investigative prowess and tenacity in helping to foil the sabotage attempt at the Sioux Locks. He says you're a natural detective and that he hopes your path will cross again someday. Right, natural detective, huh? Thanks for playing! On a real Roland MT-32. Nice. All right. So that was the N ending. I don't know if that's the worst ending you can get. So we're not done with this game yet, by the way. I don't know if I want to... Okay. We're not going to sit through all the backers for this. Okay. So that was an ending. So we have a save from here. So I won't do it in this stream this time. Yeah, so I know that there's also multiple points in the playthrough where I've actually missed stuff as well. Like I don't know what was in the curio cabinet that was stolen. That might be like a critical piece of evidence for one of the questions at the other things. And like, I'm not sure I have definitive evidence for yeah, clearly. I'm not sure I have definitive evidence for Nessa killing Margot. Like I know that Margot ate poisoned soup, and the soup was poisoned with cyanide from the fly paper, but I'm not sure I can directly connect the fly paper to Nessa. So I don't know. So I still might not be able to get like what amounts to 100% ending for this. I don't know, but we'll save this for next time. So next time I'm going to try and resolve this situation as best I can, which apparently begins with distracting Corvus, the guy in the middle of the screen, and then once I do that, I need to somehow get Nessa away and then save Evan, and I don't know how this all pans out and how this all changes the ending. But we saw what happens if you get caught and then Evan is killed and then the two flee the scene. So we've seen what happens with that, and we've seen what happens if you answer no to pretty much all the questions. So next time out we will see oh, there's also a different font as well. Like apparently this font was giving some players issues in like not being able to read and comprehend some of the text in the game. So in the most recent patch, which came out either today or yesterday or something, you can actually switch to this font that is a bit more legible, I guess. I personally didn't really have any issues reading the text in the game, but this is an accessibility thing that Julia put into the game in the most recent patch for the game. So that's nice. Okay. So there's going to be one more part here for the Crimson Diamond. Looking forward to seeing the changes for how the endings played out. Oh, also apparently, so I got the Chapter 7 complete thing for that. Extra 2 out of 4. Canada's Most Wanted. All right, sure. Chapter 6 complete. I got Death Under a Ton of Rocks. Death 6 out of 7. Slip and Slide is Death 7 out of 7. Kaboom, Death 4 out of 7. There's an achievement for killing Jack, apparently, and that one has a special border around it, so I'm not sure what that means. And that's that. So that's all the achievements I got. So there's a special death achievement for killing Jack. There's an achievement for blowing yourself up, falling down, getting rocks put on you. I'm not sure what this extra Canada's most wanted extra 2-4. I don't. No idea. No idea. The rare achievement. Interesting. Okay, 8% of players got that one. So, all right, sure. So there's still. I'm still at 17 out of 26 achievements. Oh, true, yeah. All right, so locked achievements. You opened all the cupboards and drawers that are accessible during Chapter 1. Okay, so I didn't do that, apparently. Complete Ransacker. You opened all the cupboards and drawers in the entire game. I didn't do that either. And then there's 7 hidden achievements. So there's some for some deaths that I didn't get. All right. So we'll see where I am achievement-wise once I finish up the whatever the best ending that I am able to get next time, which I know for sure is not going to be 100% because I know that I missed some stuff already in chapter 2, I think. Looking forward to it though. Looking forward to it. So almost done with this one. This one will probably wrap up around the 10-hour mark, which that's pretty good for an adventure game of this style. But that'll do it for tonight. Thank you for watching, as always. I'll see you next time. Take care.